We're live on both. We're live everywhere. And for you folks who are watching on YouTube and TikTok, I'm sorry, I'm live streaming to my groups right now. And we're going to cover a book that one of the members of our group wrote a little while ago, actually, like over a year ago. And the book has helped a ton of people. It's called Finding a Family Law Attorney. Now, it's not yet for sale for you guys, but if you do want a video breakdown of this, you should go to the link in my profile where you can find the high conflict custody portal, where there's a bunch of free lessons there. And a lot on breaking down or finding a family law attorney is broken down in there. And much of that is based off of this book. So as I'm presenting here, you guys might be like, what is he looking at? Well, I'm presenting to the guys in my group right now. And sadly, you cannot see it. But what's important is we can hear the words, and you guys on TikTok and on YouTube can write in questions, and I will get to them. So Finding a Family Law Attorney was written by Josh Davis. He's a legal assistant, a part of our groups. He has calls on Fridays, and he used to do 2 calls a week, but we went back down to 1, and it's pretty awesome. So one of the things that's key in my groups is that we offer therapy, we offer legal assistance, and we have a couple different people who have different legal backgrounds. We also have lawyers in the group. Just understand this is that anything with legal advice is only your lawyer can truly give you that advice. And so we're just telling you our experience and breaking down what has worked. And then now within our groups, we have such a history of people who've won very complicated cases. There's a lot to share. So Finding a Family Law Attorney is this epic book. And it's a book that normally is sold within our groups for $35, and perhaps it can go up from there. It's probably worth more than that because it's huge and it covers a ton of different things. What I want to get into here is I'm going to skip a couple chapters. The first one is the process of family law. You should really know that. The second part is local attorneys versus outside attorneys. There's information on why you should have an attorney, or maybe why not. Like, you don't need one. You can definitely go pro se, but like, what would be a good criteria to look for? And then there's red flags of attorneys. Now, in all of this, I kind of want a important perspective here. So when we're looking for attorneys, our first thing when we enter into anything with high conflict custody needs to be, do I need an attorney or not? And then if I do need one, how is it that I find one? How is it that I interview an attorney? What do I look for? What are red flags with attorneys? What kind of questions do I need to be able to ask? How do I switch attorneys if I need to switch an attorney? And then if we're going pro se, if we go, man, you know what? I can't hire an attorney because this is like a huge thing that we have. You know, I can't afford an attorney who can do that. I got ripped off already by 2 or 3 attorneys. What is it that I need to know, and what can I prepare myself for going pro se? Now, all of these things are so difficult to explain. Like, I wish I could break it down to you and go like, oh man, you know, you just do this, you read this book, and then you plug it into your brain and you do all the things that you did really well in your life. And it's just like that, and you'll be good to go. It's not. So all of this is you're literally learning a new language. There's tons of unfairness. You know, you're going to really understand that things are unfair. It's going to make you want to quit. You're going to see all sorts of bias. And within all of that, you need to learn to argue different statutes or laws. And then you're going to think you know them. They're going to get countered, and you need to learn how to counter that. And it's like this whole web of different things. And it's overwhelming. The overwhelmingness alone will make you want to quit. But you're also going to have walls, you're going to have biases, and it just feels like you're fighting an impossible battle. Now, everybody talks about this, but what is my message, and what is my channel about, and what is my group about, and what has my group done, is that you don't have to lose. You definitely can. It's real easy to. Like, there's so many ways to give up and screw up, but you don't have to. And if you want, and like when I say you want to work at it, you really need to understand that in finding a family law attorney or discovering whether or not you can go pro se and all that different sort of stuff, like, it is something that is a huge commitment that you need to make. So every dad tells me, he says, you know, man, I'm willing to do anything. Well, if you are, that anything isn't just anything you've done before. It's going to be a whole lot of things that you've never done before and have a whole lot of resistance in them. Now, my whole thing is I want to help you through it. And I'm just going to tell you this right now, man. I produce these videos like a bunch of people. I've always sold my services, and man, I love selling. I do it. That's how I've stayed in business for 20 years. Is one person helping men in a whole thing of the whole world that ignores them in so many ways. But the goal of a lot of what I've been doing the last couple of months is, man, we've done it successfully enough to show you how to win. I want to make as much information available as possible for free. And if you're going to hire me, it's for the service. That's it. And so I want to go over that in this. Now, for the guys who are watching on the Zoom presentation, we're going to go over chapter 5 in Josh's book, where he talks about initial questions. And these are the questions that you ask your attorney when you're interviewing them. This is some of the most important stuff. And you'll hear me over and over again hammer that you need to know your case. You need to know the laws. You need to know the statutes, because if you don't know those things, you're going to ask the wrong questions. And you're going to then have somebody in the system sell to you, right? And you want to say, hey, system, I need your help. I don't really want to ask you for your help, but I need your help to be able to see if you can represent my case. And if I'm going to represent myself, I need to know what questions to ask you, because if you are representing yourself, you should interview attorneys to see, you know, what your judge is like and different strategies and so on. You should hire them for consultations on all those different things. So there's some basic questions that you need to ask a family law attorney. Number one is, do you specialize in family law? If so, how long have you been working in family law? What kind of cases do you do? Have you represented cases like mine? If so, can you give me examples? Have you done this in front of your judge? Now, I know you're watching this and you might be going like, is this guy entertaining enough to actually take notes? But this, you really need to take notes for, because you could forget this. So, do you specialize in family law? How long have you been practicing? What kind of cases are you good at? Have you had a case like mine? Here's all the information of all the due diligence that I should have done on my case. And of course, some of it's going to slip in there. Your anger, your pissed offness towards her. You're like, man, she lied about this and that or whatever. But you do need to be able to articulate well. The better you can articulate to that attorney you're interviewing, the better that attorney can give you feedback on what you need to know. But that's just the start. That's just the beginning of the basic things that you need to ask them. You should also ask them for references. So there's a couple different ways to like understand what attorneys to even start with. Okay, so a reference is important, but that reference should be current. So for instance, in Austin, Texas, there's a famous, amazing female attorney that represented some famous people. And for the past 15 years, she's underserved everybody because she has a reputation. And her notorious thing, and we've seen it with guys in our group actually, this was 6 or 7 years ago, is horrible. Horrible. She basically says, man, here's who I've represented. And it's like, holy shit, you represented all those people? And then the reputation is basically that she takes you all the way up until the end and then forces you in a position to settle. And at that point, my client, who was warned by multiple attorneys that I referenced them to, that she would do this, she did exactly that, and he had to represent himself. And it was crazy. He actually had a heart attack. It's a crazy story. So we want references to be current. Another thing to look for is that they have references from other attorneys. So actually, the way I found my attorney, who just dominated my case. I mean, like, it's amazing. I don't know if you've watched any of my stuff, and you don't need to, but he did. If you don't know this, I have a criminal charge. I have a criminal record for child abuse that was false, but was forced into a plea, didn't do the right things with all sorts of protective order things. It went criminal. It's a horrible experience, right? Parental alienation, the whole 9 yards, right? And he took my case and he basically said, like, Steve, it doesn't matter what you did or didn't do in the past. I can win this for you. And I was scared out of my mind. The way I found him, a business attorney referenced him to me. And so other attorney references are super, super important when it comes down to being able to uh, get a good list of attorneys. Like they work in circles, all that sort of stuff, right? If you know people who have worked in family law, it's a great place to start. Yelp reviews, Google, not the way to go. Like you can look at them, but I actually know excellent attorneys. Like there's an attorney that is represented over 20 men in my group that lives in DFW. He also represented me many years ago. That's how I found out about him. And he was also referenced from another attorney. That's how I found him. But I've now referenced him to over 20 men in our group. He wins all the time. He's excellent in trial. He's good at some stuff, not good at everything. That's one thing to understand. And he will have bad Yelp reviews. You know why? Because the other party will write them after he kicks their ass, or somebody might have a bad experience with him. That's not a good caliber. The better caliber is going to be from people who've experienced and worked with that attorney and other attorneys. And then the other best thing you can do to get your list of attorneys is to go in and watch family court. If you can watch family court, and I know you might not be able to, you might not have time to, which I'm going to call you out a little bit on that. If you don't have time to save yourself from parental alienation for years, or maybe at a low point, $10,000. If you don't have time to take a day off that will save you, I'd say minimum 10 grand in attorney fees, you should really, man, you're making a lot of money. What can I say? Like if your time is worth that much, if you can't take 5 hours out of your day to save 10 grand, and what dads will tell you who run into major problems in family court, it can save you a lot more than that. But that would be another great way to find good attorneys. You watch them in front of a judge, you watch them in real time. And here's the best part about it. More than likely, like if you live in Dallas County, if you live in Harris County, if you live in Washington State, many places in California, it's different from county to county. A lot of your meetings, your family law proceedings are going to be on Zoom, and you can attend those. You might need to fill out a little form. It could get a little problematic, but it's there, right? So that would be another good way to find them. So when you find these guys, you should then ask them for references, okay? So ask them for references of people that they've been their clients, okay? And so a good family law attorney, who's I would recommend, has been practicing for 5 to 15 years. Some people argue beyond that. I currently use an attorney now that is only been, 5, maybe 6 years or something like that. But I started using him when he was 4 years in. Excellent, great, amazing. But he's also part of a firm where I know the other attorneys there, and that kind of helps. They should be able to give you references. My attorney could use me as a reference. It's no problem. I give full permission for that. You need to also ask family law attorneys when you're interviewing them, realistically, how busy are they? Okay. And this is really, really important. If you cannot understand how busy they are, or if they're too busy, they're going to be too busy for you. All right. This is very difficult. Like the attorney hustle is this insane, psychotic thing that we can't understand. I still don't fully understand it, but they're always pushing themselves to the max. And if that gets in the way of you being able to communicate with them, of you being able to prepare for something, of you getting help with anything, that's a huge deal. Now, one of the things in our group that I want to start moving more towards is trial prep, testimony preparation, and these types of things, because most attorneys underserve that. And they have a lot of information on it. It's just they don't have the 3 hours necessary to be helping you on those different things. So what I want you guys to be able to look at is, how can you really realistically assess how busy they are and how busy they get? Now, I want to go to this part here. Those are like the basic questions in looking for a family law attorney, and also some good tips on how to find a good one, even though it was a little bit out of order. But hey, man, ADHD, live presentations, off script, that's what you got to expect, okay? So the best part about Josh's book is this part I'm looking at now, which maybe you on the live streams cannot see. But it is, I think, 140 plus questions of what to ask a family law attorney in your interview. And it's broken down into different things like financial questions, or if you have false accusations, or if there's child support and alimony questions. All these different things he went through to organize for you to ask your attorney. And what's even better is if you're working with a group like ours, we can then whittle that down more. This is like the best stuff. All the dudes who are probably watching on the Zoom call are screenshotting it. I'll zoom it for you, but zoom in a little bit more. Don't tell Josh. Buy his book. It's more than worth it. So I'm going to go through these kind of quickly, but in the general section, there's the most amount of questions. And these are things that you should really be thinking about. Like, what are your responsibilities representing me? What does that mean to you? Okay. Is this a no-fault state? So some basic legal questions of what's going on. You should have probably figured that one out in your due diligence. You should look these things up before any attorney interview. You need to know your case better than your attorney at all times. Your attorney is helping you. They may be leading it and you're not, but in the background, you're leading them. They are working for you. It's really tricky. And like, how to communicate with your attorney is an art because they have huge egos. They need them. But in some aspects, you're the boss, and other aspects, they're the boss. And you need to be able to figure that out. And anyway, so is this no fault state? What is the general process for divorce? Do you have a reliable professional relationship with other local attorneys, like opposing counsel? You want that. Like, so many guys here talk about, like, man, I hate this about the misinformation of what is going out on TikTok. I love the fact that there's a medium exposing things and how effed up the family court system is, but we also need to find solutions. So one of those things is it's all like a cartel. All the attorneys and judges know each other. That's true. That really sucks. That's not good. But you're in that game, and so you need to understand it. It's better that they have a good working relationship with the judge, with other attorneys. And the reason for that is because if there does need to be some play, right? If it's better for that attorney to maintain a relationship